YouTube channel. Let's get into it. Continuation of the countdown, the marathon. Top 50 true race MCs. This is written by one only Kool, legendary rapper in his own right. So he did number 8, chose The Voice, Chuck D, number 8. Republican. I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened and read it, and it said they were suckers. They want me for the army or whatever. Teaching me giving a blank. I said never. Here in the land, they never gave a blank about a brother like me and myself, because they never did. I wasn't with it, but it's just that very minute encouraged to me that such an authority. This what as a dwell myself. How long has it been? I got to sit in the state pen. Gotta get out bad that thought was thought before I contemplated playing myself for another fusion on the run. But a brother like me begun to be another one. Don't give me serving time. They do the line, y'all. Gives me for some time. Nevertheless, they could not understand that I'm a black man. I could never be a black man. Chuck D is the greatest voice in hip-hop history. There's never been a greater voice in hip-hop. Previously, literally, only Melly Mel is in the same league. The difference is that Melly Mel is a more classical MC than Chuck. However, as far as social commentary and rhymes for upliftment of black people, Chuck D is in the league of his own. He is by far the most potent lyrical, substantive, substantive, poetic MC ever in the game. He is the absolute benchmark of a relevant hip-hop social commentary. He's the absolute benchmark of relevant hip-hop social commentary. His voice and his delivery are the equivalent of an explosion. Combined with his passion, positive messages, it's like an explosion that's going to be where you blow you up and save your life. He chose to rhyme over loud, chaotic, hardcore hip-hop tracks with multi-sample combinations that gave the songs a loud rock edge. This stylistic approach let it be known that dancing was not the prerequisite. Chuck D was trying to start the revolution of whites. He made it seem like it was God's plan all along to create music so black youth from black youth and one of the guys of the party and dance so he could have our attention when Chuck came with the salvation. Chuck D was like the master of smoking mirrors. His politics under the guise of art. He was politically speaking under the guise of music. He was a social leader under the guise of an MC. He was even a soloist under the guise of the group Republican. There are basic two divisions of hip hop time. There's hip hop before Chuck and hip hop AD after D. Before Chuck, hip hop was more self-centered in its rhyme structure. Almost every rhyme started off with I. Once in a while, after Nelly Mel made the song, the message groups like the Sugars 3, Phillies 4, and other old school legends would do more socially conscious messages. But that was not their norm. The MC purpose was to show skills musically, and it was almost exclusively about partying. In 1987, Chuck D through Talk In Me began to challenge all that. The first album, Yo Bum Rush the Show, didn't really catch on. Fans didn't really know what to make of this new sound. Top of which no one other than true old school hip hop aficionados even knew what a Pac-Man was. I was on tour with Public Enemy that summer. They was opening act for LL. It was brutal. Some nights they actually recorded getting moved. However, midway throughout the soundtrack to a movie Less Than Zero dropped, P had the song Bringing Noise on their soundtrack. Slowly but surely, people began to understand what was going on. By the time the tour ended in New York City's Madison Square Garden, Public Enemy was a hit. 1 month later, in October of 1987, Public Enemy dropped the greatest hip hop album ever made, Takes a Mr. Minutes Goes Back. I think that's wrong. I think 88, 87. Album exploded. From 1988 to 1991, there wasn't a more significant impacting force in hip hop. NWA did come at this time also, but PE was clearly the most dominant force. It's like two Snoop building on the Ice Cube NWA, and they eventually combined with the force of Tupac, made gangsta rap the predominant force. Nonetheless, Chuck D was severely viewed as a cultural icon figure. His flow was the most unorthodox to that point, and subject matter was unfamiliar to territory in hip hop. What was also unfamiliar to the trained hip hop era was the fact that Chuck used none of the cliche, familiar, conventional braggadocio MCism he never talked about. Never talked about being the best. Never talked about being the best. Never criticized another MC. Never even compared himself to another MC. It's only enhanced his image as a true lyrical leader. He never even professed to be that. But he was focused on one thing, bringing the noise. Never better than bad, because the brother's better than mad. He's a fat that's corrupt as a senator. So on a roll, but you treat it like soap on a rope, because the beats on the lines are so dope. This is for lessons I'm saying. The sound of music that critics or bust blasphemy for. They'll never care for the brothers and sisters why across the country as up for the war. We got to demonstrate, come on, they're gonna have to wait until we get it right. Radio stations are pushing their blackness. They call them so black, but let's see what they're famous. But we'll see if they play this. Chuck D does it the way it's supposed to be done. He's truly hardcore. I would listen to records and then listen to some of the so-called hardcore gangster street rap records and wonder how these other acts could call themselves hardcore. In my opinion, if you're singing songs and rhymes without challenging information, the establishment, or at the very least stereotypical mindset, you're not hardcore, you're just profane. Chuck D is truly the hardest hardcore MC. At the end of the day, he's done much more than I've talked about his chapter. He's very much involved in trying to make moves so that artists can control of their music, as opposed to the standing arrangement that basically makes this artist a slave to the labels. As always, Chuck D is at the forefront of the artistic curve. As an MC, he laid the groundwork for many of hip-hop's future heavyweights by changing the way we approach the mic. He has given us a new template that's made the biggest paradigm shift in the game so far lyrically. It's been poignant, poetically profound. For all he's done for the game, after all the success he's had, it's probably the most humble icon of hip-hop. His flow and delivery are stellar, but his voice bound his message. This makes him one of the true greats, one of the greatest MCs out there. Delivery is a strength according to Kool. He uses his voice like a weapon. He said it sounds like he means business. Clarity, sometimes he's so intense, he'll stand certain words in the rhymes. He'll leave the hype like politics, which made his always mad. That's his favorite LP from Chuck D. Kool got his favorite album from takes me some years goes back. Okay, originality, Kool gave Chuck D 100. Without question, there was never over. There was nobody ever doing the straight political, Afrocentric, black power, urban ghetto rap like Chuck D did. 95 whole concept, the whole movement of Chuck D was 95 for concepts. Subject matter, versatility 75. Vocabulary 85. For substance, 90 for flow, 100 for flavor, 70 for freestyle, 100 for vocal presence, live performance 100, 90 poetic value, 100 body of work, 100 industry impact. They came and they set the industry on fire. They did it from the underground side, sold it into the pop culture, giving out the R&B, and the hip hop, sold it into the top pop culture. Very few artists can do that or make that claim. Chuck D. Social impact 100. Black League on Blacks. Longevity 85. For lyrics, 60 for battle skills, 1,540, total score 90.5 average score. That's it. Number 8, Chuck D. Done. At 4 o'clock, I'll be back with number 7. Continue the countdown for the top true greatest MCs. Going to Kool. We get to that at 4 o'clock. Until then, talk to you soon.